Okay, so I've been thinking about, getting the books for a long while now, mostly because I wanted some place to be able to work distract free. Let me make some space so we can have a look at what's in the box. And I opted for the Note Air 3C, mostly because for me, the goal was to replace my e-reader, so I got a Kobo e-reader, and my old Samsung tablet, like the S6. And as you can see, that one's a bit busted. There's like a crack somewhere here. You barely can see it. Drawing on it was like an absolute pain. Wait, let's see what's in the box. I think this is the Pen Pro that comes with it, which is good. And then this is a really tightly wrapped package, and I see one of those pull tabs here, so that should work fine. Delivery was bleedingly fast. I ordered this Friday, and it basically got processed on Monday because it was outside of business hours, and it got here on Tuesday. So like near 24 hours, which is good, because 24 hours. Hopefully I don't mess too much. Let's see what's in the box. One. Saves the plastic, and there's like a really tiny box in here. Woo. Well, they say enjoy the little things, so let's start with that. It's marker tips. Have a look. That's a lot of marker tips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a puller for it. Excellent. Put that one on the spot that I have for it. This is the cover that we'll get later, because I think most people will be interested in seeing like how this works. Let's see, is a nice sleeve on it, and then I can pull that off. Packaging is really nice, and then it opens like a box. So let's have a look. Ooh. Now, the one thing that I've seen like on a lot of other videos, because I definitely spent some time, is that because it's an e-paper, this is like how the screen looks when it's on. So then the Boox device, put that one to the side. Some basic stuff in there. Let's have a look. Pen. And I see some things at the bottom. More cables, not like I had enough. I like the fact that most of this is paper. This is plastic. Confusing tab system. Okay, so this is what you do. That one sorted and tossed away. It looks really nice. It's really thin. That's something that I like. It's like even thinner than my Samsung. And again, that device is like 5 or 6 years old at least. So, time marches on. USB-C, basic requirement on my end. And there's like this nice set, and that's for memory, from which I'm gonna steal it from my Samsung tab, because, I got a large memory card in there, and there I will need it less now. Let's see if I can switch it on. Where's the button? That looks like a button. And it works. Really hope we got the camera configured well so that it's easy to view and read. I put on way more lighting than I normally do in these setups. Which, then of course the benefit of the e-paper one is that it's a lot less glossy. And it's saying starting up. So one of the first questions that I had was like, okay, how does it write? And I can do that while it's starting up, so that's good. Yeah, that's definitely more paper-like. I'll take the United States English. Ooh. I'll do some writing after this, but just use the touchscreen for now. Then you get the user agreement and the privacy policy. Now, normally I spend some time reading it. I did online. I haven't run through all the way yet for the video. I'm not going to live read it. I don't think anybody would be interested in that. Time zone. Get it back to the Netherlands. Let's see. It seems to be time-based. That's nice, because then I can scroll straight to it. Amsterdam. And the date doesn't match. It's just automatically set, so it will set once I get like auto sleep 5 minutes. And then I heard about this one, the auto power off, that the startup is like a lot. And I was already worried when I was looking online because it said like either an hour or never, but it seems to be really improving. So this I like because now I can just tell it like, hey, if I haven't been using this thing for like a day, then turn off and keep the battery power. So, you know, if I forget about it in the weekend, then that means I just have to wait once to get it started up in the beginning. So that sounds good day to day. Then you get bottom gestures or navigation bar. Now, I use Android a lot, so I really prefer buttons. I tried the gesture setups, and for me, it just doesn't work. Definitely when I want to switch app, then in Android, if I push the app button, that's the third one here, that will immediately, like if you press it twice, you'll switch between 2 apps, and that makes it a lot easier to multitask. I'm not sure how bad it's going to be here. Let's see, what options do I have? This is in the order that I'm used to compared to my phone. Let me double check. Because it's, yeah, so it's back, home, menu switch, I think settings. And the refresh button is, I believe, to refresh the screen, which is something that you need for e-ink. Then we have the up and down swipe gestures for volume. That one I would like. And left hand swipe gestures, that's for back. Allows you to go back. I might want to use that. I'm not sure yet, but we'll just, you know, give this a go and see how far it gets. And there you have it. That's like the main screen. There's ample battery in it. Of course, I'll need to charge it soon, but it overall looks good. I can customize the scan path for books. Of course, currently it doesn't have any books in it. I did load some stuff on the SD card, but it didn't work that well. So I'll probably, out of the video, will put the SD card in and load the other things. I think that the questions that we had was like a bit like, okay, what can you do with it? So let me prep that a little. Now, of course, the first thing that I really want to test with this is like, how's the writing? Because that was the main selling point. So let's have a look and go to notes, create notepad, because I just want to test this out. So I get like a nice option here where I can pick between how the notepad should look. Let's just start with a blank page and just have a look and see how it works. Okay, nice reminder that if I'm doing full screen, I can go back by doing a swipe from the top. That's good. Of course, I am left-handed, so I'm going to see if it turns around. It doesn't. Okay, I'll figure that one out later and just write like this, but I want to have it flipped around for my, and let's see. Oh yeah. So the first thing I noticed compared to my old tablet is, of course, this has like a lot more friction, and that allows me to write a little bit better, and it feels like more natural. Of course, the main thing that I had here was about the whole writing bit, like how easy can you make a square. And only one exclamation mark there, because more than one exclamation mark is the sign of a twisted mind, as Terry Pratchett used to say. I like the writing of this. This is definitely something that I'll be doing straight away. There's a lot of buttons on the side that I'm not going to go through because I'm going to be figuring that out. I looked online, there's like multiple pages that you can use, and I already decided up front that I was going to use this as a per page thing instead of the scrolling around, which I do a lot on my tablet, because the tablet's easy, you put a couple of fingers on it and it moves very fluidly. Here you don't have it. Here you look at a page and then treat it as a page and then get in a next page when you want to add to it. This looks very well done. Then of course, for me, a couple of the questions that I'll have is, you know, does it run Logseq? So let's see if I can get that set up. Right, so now that we have it connected to the internet, so there's the Play Store, but I can't find Logseq on there. This works actually pretty well, definitely considering that it's e-paper. Compared to like my Kobo, it's really fast. Now I'm mostly going to focus on just Logseq initially, then I'm going to go offline for a bit and install other things that were requested, like Evernote, which I want to configure, so we can really quickly go through the apps themselves and not the installation process. I think that the Logseq installation process might be interesting to people to see. So here we are in the main Logseq setup, and I'm just going to make a test folder for this because I'll do the whole syncing later as well. I usually have like a main notes folder, and then inside there I make a folder for like each individual setup. Now we're in test. I'm going to say use this folder, give Logseq access, and say like, hey, we're there. I can type, of course, though that is not how Logseq will really work well. And now for that one, so I had a look online, and you can get a keyboard with this, and I didn't want the keyboard with it because it looked clunky and not something that I want to carry around. And I already have a keyboard that I really love, and that's this little doohickey. And if I open that, as you can see, this thing I love. It was like 20 bucks on Amazon. If you open it, it starts. So I don't need to switch it on and off. I just need to close and open it. It works really well on my phone with Logseq, and I just need to figure out how to sync it, but I'll do that off session, and then we'll see some testing in there. Other questions that people of course had was like, hey, will it work with like draw? Try that. No, of course, like it doesn't have like real pen detection, so you have to like manually pick the pen, and then we can say again, now this doesn't work nearly as well as the inside writing. I think I can definitely, like if I slow down a little bit, make some drawings with this, and I might be able to improve this by speeding it up. I'm not sure if it's the internal processor that's just not fast enough to work with this, or that it's the refresh speed that's not on the highest setting yet. Overall, it looks like it works, like it's nice. I'm wondering if I can set it to dark mode and how that will look. So let's switch it to dark mode. Works. I have to look at it. Yeah, it's definitely readable, though I think from a usability standpoint, for me, it will be better to just use it in white, because that is much more readable. It might also be the angle, because I'm of course having it flat so people can watch, and this is like my first impressions on it. So it works as expected. I mean, I have been using Logseq on my Android device. You don't have any plugins, because that's a limit that you'll have with this device as well, because you know it's still the mobile app. But it's good enough, you know, for quick notes, for syncing stuff. I will be using Logseq Sync with this. And now I'm gonna go like get this thing set up, come back, and then really go for like, okay, how are all these apps working when I know a little bit more? Okay, so now I had a little time to play with this, and one of the things that I did notice is there is definitely a learning curve. And what do I mean with a learning curve? It's not like a regular device. I thought this was going to be easy enough. I'm tech savvy, and yes, it's easy enough. I can figure this stuff out, but it's not going to be as easy going as if, like, for example, when I got my tablet, which is just a big Android phone. It's still Android, but it's also an e-ink device. And one of the things that I noticed while I was working with this is it's different, which was expected, and it's slower, which was also what's expected. But there's a whole difference between you're mentally going, it's slower, but I'll use it, and oh, this is actually e-paper and it's slow and it works different. Well, one of my first pet peeves that I have is like, where do I leave this? I'll be losing this sooner or later. Like, I now put it like on the back, but then I can't use the eraser function that's in there. So if I want to erase, I have to take it off and clean it with that. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna have to really use it for a longer time to know if I rather have it like lying somewhere with the risk of losing it, or take the risk of damaging the pen. This could really use like still a bit of a better design. I mean, I get the idea of the tip, but I would even prefer if the tip was just less permanently attached here, or, and it doesn't have it, I might just make a magnet on this. Okay, well, you know, that's a small pet peeve. Logseq we installed. So that part works, and there were a couple of other things people wanted to see, and then I really hit like the first super annoyance. I'm trying to log into Reader, and because I use Bitwarden, I have these long random passwords, and for the life of me, I can't log in by copy and pasting that. And the reason why I can't log in is if I go here and I do sign in, and then I go sign in with email, and you get like this nice email form. The moment I switch somewhere else, so I go towards Bitwarden in this case, then I go back towards Reader, and it's back at the sign-in set. This is super annoying. I tried multiple ways around this. I tried split screen. And that doesn't work because it does open the notes on the side, and I could open Bitwarden, but then when I open Bitwarden and I try to click this one to sign in with email, it replaces the Bitwarden screen because it says like that's your second screen and you're opening a browser. This is half Readwise because they're not using the Android autofill, which means that Bitwarden can't suggest for me to fill in. And I've set up like the whole auto tile thing. Yeah, it's like here. And then this one keeps saying that I need to fill in autofill accessibility service. That works for like 10 minutes and then didn't work. And I tried rebooting it, resetting it. I just can't get it to work. I'll probably get it to work at some point. But this really makes like that initial experience annoying. So I am going to set this up, but I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way by typing in the 16-character password from my phone into this, and then I'll get it working in that regards. But annoying, you know, a small bit of thing. Evernote was no problem logging in with Bitwarden. Because that was also one of the requests, like, can you have like a look at Evernote for it? One of the things that you definitely notice with this is that because these apps aren't designed for it, they don't look as sleek as you're used to. Scrolling and everything is fine. Opening notes, adding notes. Of course, you can't make pictures with it, which is one of the things that I did a lot with Evernote. And there's like some old photos in here because I mostly put photos in there. Let me see if I can put something in there with a drawing. Now, I haven't used Evernote forever, so I have no idea how this works. I am used to my phone, which has a really high-end processor. This doesn't have a high-end processor, which isn't a bad case if you're just doing some drawing and opening an e-reader, but you do notice that the apps that you load into it, they weren't built for this. They weren't built for this limited space. So once it's loaded, it's usually not that bad. This works, but it is based on touch. It does seem to... Yeah, it does have the pressure sensitivity. So like if I do like a harder press, oh, it takes a while. And this is like the main thing that I noticed as soon as I start using Android apps. Yes, you can sketch in it. No, it's not as fluid as in the original app. Is that a bad thing? Yes, of course it's a bad thing. You want to be able to just draw straight into Evernote or whatever you're used to. And I can tell you right now, you can't. This is not fluid enough to work day by day. What you'll do day by day if you get a device like this is you'll go to Notes and you'll be using like the sandbox. I had a sandbox. Now let me make a new one. You'll be taking the handwriting path, you're saying like blank, you'll make a page here and you'll start drawing in this. Because this works perfectly well. But using it in an app, I tried both Evernote as well as Logseq. And you just notice that the apps have a rough time getting this up and running, getting up to speed. So if you're planning on buying this, loading Evernote in it and drawing in there, or loading in Logseq and typing in there, and then, you know, short stints is like no problem at all. I'm using like the external keyboard that I have now, and that's fine. But as soon as I want to do like large typing with lots of correcting, it's too slow. I mean, I'll see if I can find my nearest computer and just work from that. That doesn't mean that it doesn't work, because one of the things that I do is then I just open like the text pad, write in the text pad in the system, and then copy paste it into Logseq afterwards. And as that, small edits work. But it is, like in a lot of apps, really, really slow. Now, that is part of what I like about it. Now, listen, you'll be going, oh my God, he has like this terrible advice and he already has buyer's remorse and now he's trying to figure out like who and what. But this was, of course, one of the things that I was thinking about with a device like this. One of the problems that I had with my Samsung tablet, and let's see if I can easily demo that, is that I have a hard time staying focused. As such, I'm always tweaking my systems and trying to get like the best optimized set. But what that means is that I had like all these apps for drawing. I tried different apps all the time, and in the end I just always reverted back to the default Samsung app on it. Not because it was the best one, because definitely there were some better apps in it, but because I didn't want to think about what app to use. Because I can't use any other app except the internal Note app, this forces me to say like, okay, you'll just have to use the internal notes. If you don't want to do that, not the device for you. In my case, I want to do that because now I don't have to think about it. I'll go to the main screen, I can draw, I can write, I can do stuff in there in one app. I don't have to think about which would be the best app. There's only one app, the Boox app. It's a restriction. It's something which I think maybe Apple users can relate to. Like, sure, it's a restriction. You can only use what came with it, but the benefit is you don't have to think about that choice. You don't have to optimize. There's plenty of stuff in my life where I can optimize. This was not a device where I wanted to do it. I want to grab this device, make notes, and not think about where I'm going to put the notes or how am I organizing those notes. So for me, it's a plus, but it's a very important plus to memorize that if you're not willing to use like the internal note app for all your notes, not the device for you. That said, there's another use case, and that use case is reading. So when reading, I put it like on large font. I think this is like the biggest I can make this, so that it becomes like easy to read. I'll probably have to test this a bit, like if I want to read on the side. That part is well done. Of course, you still have like that e-reader ghosting that happens a bit on the side, but you can pretty easily put it like on a high quality setup. So currently it's like on HD, and they also got something called Regal. If you do Regal, that's ridiculous. I tried that, but everything you do, it refreshes the screen. That one's probably only useful if you're really like just reading. And the only time you touch the screen is because you're flipping page and then it needs to rewrite the whole screen. Anyway, most of the apps balance this good. And HD is nice if you're doing like more dedicated reading. There's lots of good stuff that they did for it, like having notes on the side, meaning that you can make notes while you're reading your book. I can give that a go. So if I flip it like this and I open this and I go to split screen, it says horizontal mode, it says I want the text like that. And then you get this, and this shows me apps, but I can also just go here and immediately say like, okay, I just want to make notes. And then I can write stuff while I'm reading. Now I'm left-handed, and I believe, if I go to split screen again, I can say swap sides. And this is for me the ideal. I can read on that side and I can make some clear notes on that side on whatever I'm reading. So this is one of the goals that I had for it. I'm glad that works. The writing is excellent. Definitely compared to other devices I use. This is actually a joy to write on, which wasn't the case for my Samsung tablet, because even with, I tried different screen protectors, but it was never this. This is like a little bit more grainy and it works really well. So that part's done well. Let's dive into the Reader app. I'm not diving too deep into the Evernote app. I've shown some of it, but I need some detailed question there. If you want me to try or test something, just, send me a DM. And if there's like a lot of questions, I'll make a video about it. If not, I'll just make a short video like this and send it your way so you can have a look on how that looks. Yeah, just give me a moment while I'm setting up Readwise. So I wanted to demo Readwise, and I logged in with my account using my phone, and it's like a lot of work. And then I realized that Readwise is a paid app, and I currently I'm not using the trial, and I'm not actively using it, so I either would have to resubscribe. So, editor boss here. When I was making this video, I didn't have a Reader Readwise subscription, so I couldn't really test it. I'm on one a week now. I got a new subscription to try it out. I absolutely love it. I mean, this thing, it just runs. I don't like doing like the feed triage part. I still do that on my phone, but I use this for all the articles that I've marked on my shortlist that I want to read, and the reading is perfect. It has like an e-paper mode. You can use paginate. So instead of like scrolling up and down, you can use pages to read stuff like a book. Markup works fine. If you're considering an ebooks, like a Boox device for something like Reader, I highly recommend that part, but I'm definitely going to be making like a dedicated video because there's so much more to talk about here. On with the video. So questions on the privacy, because it's a Chinese device. A lot of people say like, what if it's sending stuff home, which there is absolutely a chance. I think it's wise to be skeptical. Now with apps, I installed something called NetGuard, and that allows me to log stuff. So I have to show logging here, and it shows me like all this stuff, but I have to dive into this. I usually work with something like Wireshark, and this is new to me because I haven't used that on Android before, but I wanted to keep track of it on this specific device. So I got the Pro version, and I'm going to figure out how this tool works and probably make like a more detailed video on what's happening here. But also I got this router over here, and what I'm planning to do with that is hook it up to my laptop and then make my laptop monitor all network traffic, because even though I have an app on this and it shows me network traffic, the app is not on the same level as the device. So final first take on this device. I think it's a bit mixed. I really have to like learn and see how I'm going to use this. When I was deciding if I wanted to invest in this, the thing mostly was like, hey, what device am I going to replace with this? Because if it's another device, I already have too many devices. I have a desktop, I have a laptop, I have a phone, I have an e-reader, and I have a tablet. That's 5 devices. And then we take the Switch, we even get the 6. So I didn't want to have like a 7th device. I mean, that there's already way too many. My thing was like, okay, can this replace the e-reader? Yes, because it's an e-device. Can I replace my tablet with it? Yes and no. Yes, I can replace a lot of things with it, but if, for example, watching videos, I can't. But I said like, okay, but I'm mostly watching videos on my phone anyway because it's easier to hold and I don't really care about the size. Once I care about size, I'll go to the desktop. So this thing's going to replace my tablet and my e-reader. If it succeeded in that, we'll know in like a month or 2, because I need to get over that like honeymoon feel, like, oh my God, the new device. See how it works day to day. I'm planning to take it on a trip. And then during the trip, I can also see like how it holds up. During travel, one of the things that absolutely doesn't work is riding while you're in a train, for example. I doubt it will work in this one. So I have to do some concessions there, but maybe because there's more friction, it will work. I will test this soon. Overall, I like the idea. I had a couple of use cases in mind that it seems to be capturing well. My main one is that it shouldn't distract me, which I mentioned. The fact that I can only use the onboard note app for effective writing and using makes my life simpler. It forces my life simpler. And if you're a constant tweaker like me, that sometimes is a good thing. But if you don't like those kind of limitations, or if you wanted the device and you mostly wanted to do other stuff with it, so for example, you were planning to use it like a mini e-reader laptop with like a keyboard and a mouse, yeah, this isn't it. I would not recommend. The main selling point here is the writing aspect of it, is the e-inked aspect of it, the fact that it doesn't distract as much and that it's easier on the eyes. It's definitely going to be a joy to use outside. You don't see the reflections as well because I'm trying to put it there, but if you like move it up, you can see that it can reflect stuff, but it's not nearly as bad as my tablet. Like this is like much worse light-wise. But I'm going to do a full test. I'm going to go outside with it. I'm going to be using it day to day and come back to it after like a month of usage, where I'm going to talk about like, did it work? Did Logseq get better with some tweaks? What kind of tips did I needed to do? And I'm definitely going to be seeing if I can make a video. I'm going to dive into privacy concerns because I want to test and see what does this thing actually send over the wire. And then see if I can explain that in normal language to tell people like, okay, this is what's actually happening in the background. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Remember, you're awesome. Keep it up and see you in the next one.